Hi, Russ Whitney here. This is video 2 of our Inner Voice training program. And if you're watching this video and you didn't catch video 1, you probably, I'll just remind you that you've received an email from a good friend of mine, numbers of friends of mine that are influencers and have substantial customer bases in the opportunity seeker world, the magazine world, anything from Success Magazine to BeliefNet's, selfgrowth.com, and on and on and on. All attended dinners when we released this new book, my new book, Inner Voice. And it received such great reviews that many wanted to send it on down to their most cherished, I would say, customers and members of their website. So that's why you're receiving this. And many of you have probably ordered the book already. If you're watching this, you probably have the book. So, and if you don't, you'll have the chance to watch this and other videos and decide whether it's something for you or not. But I am doing a series here. Started out as 7 videos. Now you're in video number 2, and I may go on with more than 2 videos. So you can decide along the way whether you like the book or you just love the trainings. Either way, I just think it's important that that there's value in the proposition to any business these days. And if you missed video number 1, you know, Russ Whitney started out young, built a business, had a lot of mistakes during the way, and then I ended up building, you know, some very large businesses from 2000 to 2006, where the revenues were as much as $250 million a year. And I was a kid who didn't graduate high school, grew up in an abused, you know, household, not good self-confidence, self-esteem. So let me just say that if you're watching this video, if you're struggling, you know what I mean? If you're struggling, whether it's a relationship issue, finance, a business, maybe you want to become an entrepreneur, you know, maybe you want to start your own internet marketing business, which the internet is a fabulous new tool for, it kind of levels the playing field where the little guy can play with the big guys. And I'm gonna share with you a lot about that through these 7 videos, along with what I think are game changer principles and strategies that you won't see out there in the normal info marketing bookstore book. And I mean real game changer, and I'm going to talk about that today with Inner Voice. I want to talk to you about what made a major shift in my life. About 2008, my business started to crumble. Real estate, you know, which I've been active in forever, dropped dramatically in Florida. I mean, property values in our commercial properties dropped 80%. I entered into, you know, a marriage crumbling. It's even hard for me to say. And my life was just turned upside down. You know, here's a guy who, of course, I struggled along the way, and we're going to talk about those struggles. You know, we're going to learn, you know, later on in this training series that the gift of life, the gift, is in the struggle. What does that mean? Well, that's a key principle to success, and one you never hear anywhere. But in March 2008, I walked away from all my businesses and, you know, sold off a lot of assets, and I was lost. I was lost. A guy who, and not just lost, you know, money-wise, but I was humiliated, you know. I was humiliated in front of my peers, in front of the industry, you know, that I was a leader in. And, you know, I even trudged into, you know, alcohol abuse. And that wasn't a good idea, by the way. And so March 8th, I had these questions, and that is, what is the purpose of life? And I bet you're asking yourself that question. What's the purpose? What's the point? What are we here for? And who's right? Is it all about money? No. But are the Jews right? Are the Christians right? Are the Muslims right? Are the Hindus right? Is it the Tao Te Ching that's right? Were the Maya Indians right? Oprah Winfrey, Wayne Dyer? You know, who's right? Does that make a difference? Are they all saying the same things in different times, cultures, and languages? And if so, I wanted to get to the bottom of that. I didn't want to just hear rhetoric. I wanted to go out and investigate for myself, and I wanted to see what they had to say, put it into practice, and see if I got evidence. And you know what? Although you may not have the, you know, the wherewithal to do what I did. I walked away from my business. I didn't lose all my money, so I still had some wherewithal. But here's what I did. I went on a 5-year mission. Almost 6. March will be 6 years. And I started March 8, 2008, and you'll see this. I'm sorry, but this is the book, Inner Voice. If you do have it already, by the way, let me just mention to you that if you look at the link below this video, if you have the book, when you're ready throughout these trainings, you might want to sit through some more of the trainings, and then there's going to come a point where the light's going to go on. If you go to that link, I'm giving you a free offer. I guess that's the best way to say it. But you can go to that link and click on that link, and we will give you a free coaching with an inner voice coach, certified inner voice coach. And you may actually get me, because I'm taking some of those calls as well. And this is valued, our coaches are over $200. It's a 45-minute coaching, and I know this book is going to resonate with you. It's a game changer. You will not see anything like this anywhere. In fact, if you don't have the book, go to Amazon and you read the reviews. Just read the reviews on even my competitors. My competitors in business who have been a hard, competition have gotten this book to see what I'm doing, and have gone in and written a review on their toughest competitor. So go and get that free coaching too, because I think it can help sort out life, and not just money. Okay, it's about well, let's get on with some more of the training, and I'll just tell you what I found out. By the way, let's mention this. I've written 30 books. I mean, go on Amazon, you can see them all, and I'm not bragging, just is what it is. All my books have been financial. The first part of my life was all about money. Because I felt, because I grew up in an abused family, when I read this book that said I could become a millionaire, that's all I wanted. And the reason I wanted to become a millionaire was to show all those people who said that I was nobody and nothing, loser, that I was somebody. And we all know money doesn't make somebody somebody. In fact, I often say money doesn't change people, it makes them more what they are. So I don't mean you now, but if you're a jerk to begin with, money gives you the ability to be a bigger jerk. If you got some decency, some morality about you to begin with, money gives you the ability to do that in a bigger way too. But for me, at 20 years old, I didn't know any better, so that's what set me on a mission to make $1 million, and I didn't know I couldn't. And as you all know, you read the bio in the books. I mean, it's common knowledge. I had a net worth of $1 million at 27. Anyway, moving right along past that. March 8th, 2008, I set out on a 20-country mission. And I went to Hawaii first, okay, then I went to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Israel, I went to Haiti, Colombia, Spain. Worked with top business leaders, religious, yeah, spiritual leaders, thought leaders, names, biggest names, that you can imagine. And I had access to that because, it's a shame, but money gets you access to those things. And you know what, although you may not have that access, I write like I talk. I write in layman's terms, and it's understandable. And I think you're going to find this book that what I do is, and this is the feedback I'm getting, you're going to feel like you're on this journey with me getting these answers. And these are answers I know can change your life. And you're going to meet the characters, and they're not characters, they're real people. You're going to meet Herman and some of the others. And you're going to learn the lessons with me through this book, and easy to understand and read, but you're going to find information in there that you've not seen anywhere, I promise you that. And so as I went on this journey, when I first got out to Hawaii, I was at a mental, physical, and spiritual retreat. That's a nice place for like a life recovery. And there were the best brain doctors, the best therapists, there were the best psychologists, counselors, and there was something about it that was just different. Now, guys, when I built my business, I had 200 trainers. I've been to every motivational seminar in the universe. They've all been to mine. At one time when I had 600 live events a week going on all over the world. So this was an industry that I was supposed to be an expert in. And I saw something at this retreat, and there was this humility about the people that were there. Some of them were rough and tumble people. And at first it seemed hokey and it seemed fake. And the more I watched it, the more I thought, wow, it's not. And I didn't really know how to coin it, but today I would call it humility. And, most people can define humility. Most miss their mark because they don't know how to do humility. And I didn't know how to do humility. And there's some reasons for that you're gonna learn along this path. And I hope you're already finding that this information, what we're talking about right now, is really different. It's not religious, but it doesn't conflict with religion, and it's not a book about making money. But if you're not where you want to be in life, if you're not making the money you want, or you haven't found the right business, or even if you have, and you're not reaching those goals you think you should be reaching, I promise you, this is the glue that's missing to bind that together to get you where you are. And I'm going to give you enough content and information in here, you know, during these next, I think we have 5 or 6 more videos. And if you write in to support at innervoice.com, I'd love to hear your questions as we go along. If you have questions on the content, or you want to ask me questions about business, or is this right or that right, or how do you get to this place or that place, please do it, because I'm going to be reviewing those questions. And maybe in between these videos, if they're really good ones, you know, good credible ones coming in, I'll do another video and answer those for everybody. And you know, those of you watching right now, there may be questions that come in that you would never think to answer or ask, but you're going to get an answer to. So, I mean, stay tuned to these videos, if you will, because I'm enjoying doing them, by the way. Every time I do this, I get to spill a little of my own medicine on myself. Well, anyway, I saw this different thing going on. I started to write notes. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I promise you, I never set out on this mission, this 20-country mission, and I spent 5 years, 5 years of my life where I've walked away from my businesses, you know, there's management in place, and I've spent 20,000 hours. So I've took hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of notes. And the whole key is, what's the purpose of life? And who's right? And that's the answer. And what's your purpose? And how do we get you there? Not just what's my purpose. I found that through this process. If I had known this 20 or 5 years ago, my life would have been a lot different. There would have been much more happy, joyful. There would have been spiritual freeness to it, while I knew I was on the path to fulfill my purpose and have the ability to build a passion. See, passion never comes first. People say, find something you like to do and then you'll do great. Never happens that way. We find purpose based on our childhood wounds and our childhood experiences, and we connect those dots to find our purpose. And in this process, we have charts in here. One we call the discovery chart, the character asset chart. So there's actually an action plan for how do I do this, you know, not kind of like church. We go to church or synagogue or whatever it is, and we're all praying and kumbaya, and then we get out of church and everybody's cutting everybody off to get to Denny's first. You know? There's some behaviors that need to change in order to find the purpose. So if you've been struggling, not sure, can I be a success? What should I do? Am I getting the right information? These next videos are going to answer that for you. I'm just going to mention again, I don't mean to sound like I'm selling you, because a book really obviously doesn't make me a lot of money, but this is my career ender. You know what? There's nothing else that I want to do but this, and let me tell you why that is. As I went through, well, let me backtrack. I just want to tell you, first of all, if you have the book already, I want you to know that you can go to the link below this video, just click on it, and you can get a free coaching with an Inner Voice certified coach. That costs over $200 usually. You can get that absolutely free, and kind of start to sort the process out, you know, to get a direction. And it's not just about money now. We're talking about relationship. We are talking about finance. We are talking about health, weight loss. Most of those things are what block people from getting to their success, including me. It was blocking me. And anyway, so let's go back. So I start on this process and I accumulate notes. Now let's get to the book, because I've had 6 million people go through my training events over the last 25 years. And as I talk to these people who are, and this is financial training, this is a complete departure from that, okay? And so what I find is, it's not that people can't do the real estate strategy, or they don't understand how internet marketing works, or there's not a lot of good information on that, or stock investing, real estate investing, whatever it is. It's not so much the strategy, because anybody who's got a high school education can understand that. What blocks most of us, and you watching this video from success, and even me, it was blocking me, was resentments and angers from childhood. It was a relationship issue. You know, if we're married and we've got a negative wife or a negative husband always dragging us down, how can we ever get to success? Well, how do we fix that? What are the steps to fix that? That's what this here is about. So let me start by telling you how I wrote the book. And at the end, I'm going to tell you how the book even came about, because as I told you, I never set out to write a book. That wasn't my mission on this 20-country mission. I set out to save my own life. And I indeed found a roadmap to do that. It also led me to my true purpose, which wasn't real estate investing necessarily, which wasn't the financial training company. It's about how it led me to what I'm doing right now. And I'm just going to tell you that the experiences that you've had in life, as you're going to find out from as I share this information, are the dots we need to connect for you to get you to that same spot that I'm in. And I'm telling you, we can do that for you if you hang with this. So in this book, I talk in two voices. Let's start here. I talk in the voice of a warrior, and I talk in the voice of a statesperson. Okay, so this is step one, to understand there are 4 phases of life. These were not invented by me, and in fact, anything I'm teaching you other than the financial stuff, everything I'm going to share with you here is something I learned from these others in this whole travel. All I did was take it and boil it down into something that's easy to understand with a step-by-step approach that anybody can put into practice. And I'm telling you, I was probably the most hardcore who thought maybe this couldn't work. Maybe it was hokey. But anybody who knows Russ Whitney knows that I'm not a hocus-pocus guy. If I didn't see clear evidence that this worked, I wouldn't be doing it. And what makes this different is, I often say, you know, to people that, you know, Christians go to the church, you know, Jewish people go to the synagogue, Muslims go to the mosque, you know, Hindus and Buddhists go wherever they go. But opportunity seekers, people who want to make their lives better financially, personally, spiritually, come to Russ Whitney. And I don't mean that in a braggadocio way. I only mean to tell you that I did this the same way I did real estate investment, the same way I built the largest financial education company in our industry, you know, in the world, is I studied, immersed myself in it. I went to work at it. I put it into practice, and that's how I learned it. And anybody can do that. The difference is, what it took me 20,000 hours to do, 20,000 hours over 5 years, you can learn in a few hours, starting just with this book. Now, if you go to the link below, if you don't have the book, you can order it. If you do have it, let's get on with the training. In the book, I talk, oh, by the way, if you do order whether you order the book or have it already, on that link, you still can go in and reserve your free $200 value coaching with an Inner Voice certified coach. So don't be afraid to go to the link. So in the book, I talk in 2 voices, the voice of a warrior and the voice of a statesperson. Now, here's the warrior. The warrior phase of life usually goes from about 20 to 40 years old. And the statesperson goes from 40 on. Now, keep in mind, some people can get it at 35. They can get statesperson. Some people get it at 20. Some never get it, all right? So if you get this lesson, it will put you way farther ahead in the knowledge base on the playbook for life. And what I mean by that is, if you play a basketball game and you're the tallest guy out there and I'm the shortest guy out there, if you don't know the rules, tallest guy, I'm going to beat you because you're going to double dribble and you're going to foul, and so I'm going to win. What about a playbook for life? Have we ever sat back and thought about what is the game of life about? What is the game of life? How does it compare to basketball or soccer or other games? What's the time clock in the game of life, and what's the scoreboard? I'm going to share that with you in subsequent videos. Right now, let me just take you back to warrior statesperson. Warrior is 20 to 40 years old, where we operate on human training. Human means all we have is what mom, dad, brother, sister, preacher, teacher, and peers put in our head. We don't have any more than that, okay? And that usually is about, let me start with, a child by the time they're 12 years old has been told the word no 180,000 times. Did you know that? No, 180,000 times. That's got to start setting a precedent for how I deal with situations in life, and can I do it or I can't. My first premonition is going to be no. All right? Also, warriors operate like I did. Selfish, self-centered, arrogant, finger pointer, judger, blamer, criticizer, self-pity and victim in there. Now, in the Christian world, we would go by the acronym PAGGLES, P-A-G-G-L-E-S. Pride, anger, gluttony, greed, envy, and sloth. Pretty good, isn't it? Well, there's a whole definition to how that blocks us from business. And in this book, although it's not religious, it doesn't conflict with religion. I will use the God word because I do believe there is a power greater than myself. I don't believe the sun goes up and down by accident. I don't ever walk outside of my house and think, well, okay, the tide went out today because I live right on the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe it won't come back in. It always comes back in. I never worry if I plant a pumpkin seed, am I going to get a thorn bush, cherry tree? No, if I plant a pumpkin seed, going to get a pumpkin. Just on those three, bases, I'm just making the point that if there's another one. Have you ever seen two birds on an electric wire having a nervous breakdown or worried about, their pension? No, because they're living in today, another thing that we're going to learn when we get to the time clock of life. So there's an organization to this universe, and if that organization works for those things, we're supposed to have dominion and be made in God's image. Shouldn't there be an organization to us and how we get to success? I don't believe there's a God that floats around the sky and looks like Moses and takes score. Yep, okay, let's see, you cut that person off and let me see, you were not nice, you were rude to that waitress, so that's going to be 2 ingrown toenail, 1 failed business, and a bad real estate deal. It doesn't work like that. There are immutable laws to this universe, and immutable means irreversible, can't change them, have to happen, work for everybody. In our subsequent session, I'm going to do a session solely on immutable laws and how you use them for a great power for success or failure, your choice. All right, back to warrior. So in my warrior years, I operated on selfish, self-centered, finger point, judge, blame, and realized as I got into the discovery chart piece that was all dictated by my childhood wounds and my parents and how I grew up and how they programmed my thinking. And in this book, there's there's an actual process that we use to break through that anybody can do, and it was miraculous for me. And so in the warrior phase, I was a good communicator, good salesman. There was many times I'd go back after this sale or that sale and I'd try to reclose. Always fell through. And the reason is, the wisdom to know the difference in life is which is my part and which is God's part. My job, your job, suit up, show up, and this is how we're going to find your purpose too, by the way. Suit up, show up, bring your common sense, your intelligence, and your blessing to the game, and I'm going to help you identify your blessing throughout this series, but leave the results to God. The result's always going to be what the result's going to be, and I'm going to show you evidence and proof of that as we go along the way. So what we want to do here is I want to graduate and move you from warrior to statesperson. Now, statesperson, as I traveled to all these countries working with top spiritual religious leaders, usually comes, I hate to tell you, through a life crushing. Now, you might be going through a life crushing right now, and that simply means either someone crushes us in life, relationship-wise, a divorce, a strange child, a death in the family, whatever it might be, and boom, we're knocked to our knees. Life crushes us, some way, shape, or form, tragedy, death, could be anything. Or we crush ourselves, which is what I did. Crushed myself in self-sabotage. And many of those people are striving to be entrepreneurs or move out of that dead-end job or get on with life or fix a relationship, get out of a dead-end relationship. Hang on to that. They never move forward out of that because they don't understand how those immutable laws work. Well, I want to push you through those. So in the statesperson phase, we learn a little bit about, from that crushing, and hopefully you don't have to go through a crushing, using the strategies in this book, maybe we can get you by that to purpose and on to your dream without having to be crushed. So if I had to take that weight for you, I got the big shoulders, I took it, don't worry about it. In the statesperson, this is what I learned starting out there in Hawaii on my trip. The power of humility, the power of tolerance, the power of patience, the power of letting go of resentments, the power of forgiveness. The problem was, although I could define those things, like many, I didn't know how to do them. How do you do it? How do you do humility? How do you let go of resentment? People have hurt me and wronged me. Well, you know what? Every one of those things, if you don't stay with this series and learn how to do them, you remain blocked from your dream. You remain blocked from that purpose that God put you here on this earth for. And I know you have a purpose. I think that's enough for today. I don't want to go too much too quick, but I hope you grasp something out of that. you want to pick up the book, pick up the book. I think you'll get more out of the training series as we go along. Until next video, I just want to say best and blessings to you and family from Russ Whitney. Thanks.